Well, how do you make a television show in the age of COVID-19? Not like ours, but like a Hollywood television show. And what kind of shows will you end up seeing in the fall?
Many series and movies shut down months ago, and so far only a few are back in production. The entertainment industry is facing new challenges, and a local man is right in the middle of it.
His name is Tim Kaiser, and he does something unusual. He commutes from Pittsburgh to produce TV shows in LA. And right now he is back in LA, ready to get started on a new series. But before he left, I had a chance to talk with him and ask him what happens now. They're all TV shows you know: Seinfeld, Will and Grace, Two Broke Girls, and they all have one thing in common. If you check the credits, you'll see Tim Kaiser's name.
The COVID situation has really caused us to reinvent the wheel.
Kaiser is a big-time Hollywood producer who grew up in Oakmont and now lives in Hampton. But he's back in LA to begin shooting a new series for ABC, starring Kira Sedgwick, called Call Your Mother. She may be best known for starring in the crime drama The Closer. And the challenges facing Kaiser and the entire team right now are daunting.
Most of the shows I do have audiences, so 200 people are gone right from the get-go. There will be no audiences, most likely this year, maybe even next. So it takes a lot of the creativity away, a lot of the energy from the actors that get from the audience.
Not only will studio audiences be gone, but as with the few shows that have come back, like CBS's The Bold and the Beautiful, there are new rules. The number of people limited, cast members kept 10 feet apart, and in some cases, mannequins are actually being used as extras or stand-ins.
Right now we're being told no extras. So if we're in a restaurant, there's just nobody in there. People have talked about green screening and digitally adding people in the background. I don't know how cost-effective that can be. Well, I do know, and probably not going to happen.
Kaiser has been involved in some of the best shows on TV, but it was always a collaborative environment, not people who have never met writing over Zoom.
It's very sterile. It doesn't lean into creativity, in my opinion. I mean, we've got to do it, and we'll figure out how to do it well. But it really is a challenge.
And he says on the shows he's used to doing, the crew might be 100 people. Now it could be half that or even smaller. Everything will be cut back.
It might be 3 people, and they might be ushered in doing their own hair and makeup, have masks on until the director calls action.
He says it'll cost more to keep everyone safe. And then there's the question of whether to mention coronavirus on a show. Do you address COVID and the storylines, or do you think people want an escape from it and don't want to see anyone wearing a mask, don't want to even see it mentioned? Or do you fear being irrelevant if you don't mention it?
I think you're going to see a split like anything else. People dance around it or they confront it head on. So far right now with the scripts we've seen on the new coming show that we have not addressed it straight out.
Kaiser's success is about making things happen despite obstacles, so we've used this as perhaps his biggest and toughest challenge.
I don't think anybody's faced anything in this industry like that.
And he tells me if someone tests positive on the set, everyone around will then have to be quarantined. He hopes to actually get started on this series. It's going to be on ABC. We whisper it because it's another network. But he hopes to actually get started on it sometime this month. And by the way, his story is incredible. He grew up spending time with Mr. Rogers, and some of his stories from behind the scenes at Seinfeld and Will and Grace, just wonderful little tidbits. So I had a chance to ask him about all that too, and we'll have that part of his story coming up tomorrow on PT.
You know, it's so interesting to hear from a professional about how it I don't know, interrupts the creative process, because I do find that to be so true with Zoom and kind of this online thing. But if people are 10 feet apart, it almost makes it more difficult not to mention COVID-19, right? Because I know you asked him about that.
Right, and he said, yeah, it may take some explaining, like, you know, why are we keeping such a distance apart? Especially like if it's a couple, and they're like not holding hands, they're not even close to each other. But you know what? It's something that I really think he's ready to attack with creativity. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. And he just was fascinating to talk with. So watch tomorrow for more.